Hey guys, I'm gonna check out this new bookstore that's in the area. It came highly recommended to me. Really hoping that I can fill some holes in my collection. And one of my friends says that they have some really awesome graphic novels, so I can't wait to check it out. See you on the flip side. Man, that place gives new meaning to the term pull list. Alright guys, here I am in my motor vehicle. I just wanted to do some more comic talk since that's my thing now. This will be unrefined just like the rest. Pretty much on my lunch break at work right now. I literally pulled my car out of my really awesome parking spot and moved all the way to the back of the lot, hoping that no one will see me, because gotta admit, it's pretty weird. I'm in my car talking to myself. I mean, I have my phone down below so they can't even see it, so if they drive by, they'd be like, why is he talking to his crotch? I don't know. So anyways, you know, the things we do for nameless people on the internet, am I right? Just for a few thumbs up. So anyways, I just wanted to show you the books I got this week. It's a couple weeks worth for me. I've read them, and I'll just give you some quick thoughts on them. No in-depth reviews. So we'll do this in alphabetical order. Again, this is a teaching channel. So we started with A, the letter A. And I got Axe Cop, American Choppers #1. And originally I wanted to pick this up when it came out, I think 2 weeks ago, but I didn't see it on the shelf. But last week, or this week, when I popped into my comic shop, I noticed that it was in the back issue section, so I decided to pick it up. I'm a big fan of Axe Cop. It's just good, clean fun. I don't know if you guys know much about it, but it's basically, it started off as a collaboration by two brothers. The older brother was in his mid-20s, I believe, when it started, and he's the artist of the bunch. And then his younger brother, who was in the single digits in terms of age, was the writer. So, I mean, this story is just all over the place. And I think the main reason why I really, really like it is because it's just so random. And it reminds me of, like, my childhood when I used to write crazy stories and, you know, use my imagination to its fullest. Like, so just a quick thing, like Axe Cop right here, he's literally a cop that wields an axe, and he's all about chopping people's heads off. You know, not in a gruesome way, there's not really blood, but like just to show you a panel of like what this is all about. So here's Axe Cop riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex with machine gun arms, and they're both sporting, you know, shades. So it's just crazy all over the place like that. And like I said, it really reminds me of like my childhood, and specifically like in elementary school when we'd have computer class. And back in the day, they weren't, I don't even know if they were Macintoshes. They were definitely Apples, but like they were the type of computers that didn't have much software. Like it'd be Oregon Trail, but it would be all like green graphics on a black screen, like kind of like the reverse of a Game Boy, you know, and it's all text based. I mean, there's, like I said, there's graphics, but it's, you know, you have to type in things. There's not really a mouse. And for writing in that class, we would just use like a word processor. And I remember I used to write crazy stories that was actually eerily similar to Axe Cop. It was about how me and my friends were part of a chainsaw gang, and we drove monster trucks around, which if you read this issue, it's almost like they scanned my brain and stole that memory. So I'm convinced that, you know, that was originally property of me. And I am currently seeking litigation against the creators for stealing my ideas. But anyways, it was a good read because obviously I wrote it. Then moving on, we got Chew Revival. And of course I got the variant cover, Revival Chew. I don't know if I mentioned this. I think it was on Twitter, but I was like freaking out. I was like messaging Johnny and other people. I was like, because I hadn't picked up the book yet. So I was like, hey guys, I see this cover everywhere, but where the hell do you get this cover? And eventually somebody, you know, clued me in onto like, hey buddy, you just got to flip it over. But how funny would it have been if I was like freaking out at the comic book store being like, where the hell is that variant? Anyways, this is awesome. Like, this is literally my two favorite comic books that I'm reading right now. Chew being #1. And it's this awesome crossover, and they somehow make it plausible by dropping these characters in each other's universe. And this is pretty much a double issue. Chew Revival kind of uses the storytelling and the art style of the Chew books. Sorry, I'm kind of slowing down because there's a limousine driving by me right now, and he probably thinks I'm crazy. I am ashamed of what I am. So the Chew Revival part is done by the Chew guys, and it's my favorite part of the two because it uses their humor and art style and storytelling abilities, so I love it. And the Revival guys aren't anything to scoff at either. It's very enjoyable. Oddly enough, though, hearing like the Chew characters swear, and I'm trying to remember now if they actually swear in Chew or not. But seeing it written, hearing them swear is kind of off-putting for me. And I'm not I'm not some kind of prude. I can cuss and do all that stuff, but I don't know. It's just weird to me. But once I got over that, it was still an enjoyable read, and I'm definitely going to be looking for Mr. Tim Seeley and Mr. Mike Norton to sign this book. And then if I see Rob Gilroy and John Layman in New York, if I go there, if I'm lucky enough, I'll definitely have them sign this as well. But really awesome. If you're fans of any of those series, I would definitely pick it up. Then I continued on with Magneto. This is officially on my pull list now. I think I referenced that on Twitter. This issue was fine. There wasn't like a lot of action in it. It was just a lot of storytelling and kind of laying the groundwork for what is going to happen next. Basically, Magneto encounters like this mysterious woman who seems to know a lot about him and wants to be his friend. So we'll see where it goes with that. But then again, not a lot of action compared to some of the other issues. So for some of you Jean-Claude Van Damme fans and Steven Seagal dudes who just want kicking and punching all the time, it might be a little bit of a letdown for you. But there's got to be some kind of storytelling. It can't just be kung fu all the time. Then I continued on with Manifest Destiny. If you watched my older video, you know that my friend lent me issues number 1 through 6, and I really, really enjoyed it. So this is actually the first issue that I bought on my own, and it's on my subscription list now, and it's the start of a whole new arc, so perfect timing for me. I read it, still loving it. Something about, I'm not a huge history buff, but just reading about alternate histories that obviously involve government cover-ups and, Lewis and Clark, they're exploring a whole new world. So seeing it from the angle of not only are we getting rid of the indigenous peoples or, clearing them out for the betterment and expansion of America, but the fact that they have to deal with monsters and the unknown is really cool as well. So I'm really enjoying it. This issue doesn't let up, and I just love the dynamic between Lewis and Clark themselves. I'm trying not to get confused by the characters, but I think Lewis is more like the scientist guy. He's there for knowledge and information. He's more cerebral, whereas Clark is I'm just going to kill everything that's in my way. And that was brought to light a couple issues ago when they were eaten by a plant that made them kind of hallucinate as they were being digested. And, Lewis was fantasizing about being with a ton of women, whereas Clark was fantasizing about killing Indians. So it says something about their character, but really awesome book. I looked into getting issue number 1, but it's already up to $30, at least what I've seen on eBay. So I don't know, maybe I'll score that at a con or something, but I know the more I sit on it, the higher the price is going to get jacked up. One thing that I do want to get a number 1 of that is still very affordable is Rat Queens, though, so I might pull the trigger on that. I think with shipping, it'll cost me $6 or $7 on eBay. Then I continued on with Southern Bastards number 2. If you saw my other videos, you heard that I was a big fan of the first one. It reminded me of a Clint Eastwood movie. And it's funny that I enjoy this so much because the elements in it aren't that original. It's about the story of an old guy that left his town many, many years ago and never looked back. And, he never wanted to come back. And the only thing that brought him back was the death of his father. So he goes in with the plan of only being there for a couple days just to tie a few loose ends up. And of course, it comes to light that he didn't have the greatest relationship with his father. And, he runs into some people from his past and he sees that things have kind of been taken over by this Coach Boss character, and unsurprisingly to everybody, these elements force him to stay longer than he intended. And like I said, none of these storytelling elements are original. It's all things you've seen in the past, but at least so far, Jason Aaron has like masterfully put them together. Where I'm like really interested to see what the main character's continued presence in his community is going to mean, and what the outcome is going to be. And like in this issue, I don't want to give much away, but it definitely lays the groundwork where he's completely trying to distance himself from his father. Like, he doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps. His father was like a former sheriff who always fought for the right side of the law, even though it he was in love with justice, and basically that kind of that was his first priority, and his family came second, which is why him and his son have such a strained relationship. So in this issue, the son references like, "Oh, I'm not like you, I'm not who you wanted me to be. Like, I'm just not you, and F you and all that." But by the end of this book, there's a nice little cliffhanger where there's almost like divine intervention from the grave, where it's like, you don't have a choice. You're going to have to step up and unfortunately share the same characteristics of your old man. So, like I said, somehow they use familiar elements to create like a really, really fresh story. So I'm really excited about seeing that. Then I picked up the latest issue of Walking Dead. This is 128, I believe. And some more of the same here. We don't really have a new enemy, which is fine. Like I said, it doesn't... Walking Dead tries to be, more realistic, I think, in terms of like how it deals with a zombie apocalypse. It's not just constant conflict and, even though you're surrounded by death, you're not always in danger type of thing. So you just get more scenes of like the new life and community that Rick and the other survivors have built for themselves now that, spoiler alert, Negan is out of the picture, for now anyways. So it's just kind of setting things up, and in this book, they've invited a new crop of characters in and are just trying to feel them out and see if they're trustworthy or not. And the way it kind of ends is that the other group is just a little uneasy about this our familiar cast of characters, and they're like, well, if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. So what are they hiding? Which is kind of funny because it's almost a reversal where we've seen Rick and his camp share that same kind of mindset in the past when they've encountered these communities. So it's kind of interesting to see the roles reverse in that regard. And I'm curious to see what Kirkman does. If what Kirkman's going to do is there actually going to be... Has our cast of characters changed in these few years that we didn't see? That maybe they are hiding something now. Maybe they're not the goody little two shoes that they've always been in a way, or is this new cast of characters that are coming in completely gonna just tilt the scales of harmony and balance that Rick and the others have fought so hard to put together. So I'm really interested in seeing that. And then finally, I saw this free book on the shelves, and I got this All New Young Guns. I just flipped through it. It's mainly just like artwork and like a little preview of something. And I usually don't pick up free books because that's what poor people do. But whatever, maybe I'll sell this to somebody down the line. That's what I do. Anyways, that's it for this little comic haul video. I'm really enjoying that I'm reading more books than just my usual 3. I don't think I'm going to be adding more to my pull list. I kind of think I'm at my max right now. Other things that are going on. My friend that gave me all those other books, I also finished reading Thanos Rising for the first time. And that was really cool. That was written by Jason Aaron too. So maybe he's becoming one of my go-to writers. I don't know. I don't really know his entire body of work. So if you guys have any Jason Aaron recommendations, let me know, because I've been enjoying Thanos Rising and Southern Bastards so far. Thanos Rising, overall, I think was definitely worth reading. I get a little more insight into the origin of Thanos, which I didn't really know too much about. And I remember there was one of the issues where he's basically, since he was a kid, he was like in love with this woman who just wouldn't return his affections, and she's kind of the one that unlocked the inner killer within him. And, you know, basically she says, I'm not going to be completely yours until you pretty much kill everyone that's close to you. And it's not just his family and homeworld, but he actually goes around and kills like all these other women that he's been with and that he's fathered children with. And I think it's because I'm a parent now, but it actually really bothered me to see him murder children like that. But I don't know, maybe that just means I'm a human being, surprisingly enough. So comic-wise, that's it. The Batman and Robin community rewrite is still going strong. I think we're picking up some steam. We've just completed a full 6 pages with 10 writers. So the remaining few pages, I think there's 12 pages left, are going to be done by 15 more writers. So really excited. I can't, I don't know. I don't want to blow this up too much because I feel like it's like, all right, dude, we get it. You know, you love your little creation here, but I just can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm having a lot of fun helping put this together, and I'm really glad that you guys are taking ownership of it as well. Yeah, that's it. So sorry for all you guys that were hoping for short-winded and crass and all that fun stuff. Eventually I will get back to that. It's going to be Father's Day this weekend. I wanted to go to the flea market alone, but what are you going to do? The kids want to spend time with me. It's really sad. It's like I can't even enjoy my life anymore. Goodbye.